or other places where parents talk to each other, a parent will tell me about a question or concern she had about a class. I ask, did you email the teacher? And the answer is usually yes, but I didn't receive a response. It is a matter of great surprise when the teacher actually emails the parent back. This parent lives in a high school district that routinely produces Moorhead and Parks scholars, whose students go on to Johns Hopkins and Duke. If relatively random parents at one of the better schools in the state have this experience, do you think that the parents at lower performing schools get a better or more consistent response? The Parents' Bill of Rights is about accountability for school systems and giving parents the resources they need to advocate for their children. This bill will strengthen education in North Carolina by increasing parent involvement. And Mr. President, I move that Senate Bill 49, the Parents' Bill of Rights, become law, notwithstanding the objections of the governor.
Is there further discussion or debate? Senator Marcus, for what purpose do you rise?
To debate the motion.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. And hello, colleagues. Good to be back with you all. If this bill did what its title implies, we wouldn't be disagreeing with you here today, because we agree that it is the parents' role to decide about the moral and religious upbringing of their children. We also agree that parents should, and of course do, have rights about what their children do in public school. They already have those rights now, and the majority of this bill just restates parents' rights, laws, and policies that are already in place. Parents' rights is not what this bill is really about. When I talk with parents in my district and even across the state who have school-age children about what they want the General Assembly to do in regards to public education, not one of them has said to me that they want to erase LGBTQ kids and their families from the classroom or make them feel excluded or out them to their parents before they're ready to talk about it. None of them have said to me that they want the public school system to deny the existence, equality, and basic humanity of LGBTQ people so that their children won't have to hear mention of people like that. A few parents may think that way. I'm sure you've heard from a few of them. They think that way, and they probably want Senate Bill 49 to become law, because that would help them create a false bubble around their child that conforms to the way they want the world to be. Those parents also want us to ban books that they disagree with. They want to control not just what their children learn, but what other people's children can learn. And they don't seem to care about the harm and the hurt that bills like Senate Bill 49 inflict. And make no mistake, this bill causes harm. But those parents, even though they are the loudest often, are the minority. On the other hand, what most parents of public school students want, they are things like adequate funding to ensure that all children have their constitutionally guaranteed sound basic education. They want serious measures to address the teacher shortage and the low morale among educators here in North Carolina. They want to have no vacancies in the bus driver department so that their kids can get to school on time and safely. They want more teacher assistance so teachers can work with students in groups on their level. They want calendar flexibility so that their kids can take their mid-year final exams before winter break and line up their high school schedules with community college. They want gun safety reform to reduce the threat of shootings at school. It is a huge failing that students consider mass shooting drills routine in the state of North Carolina.
Senator Ford, for what purpose do you rise?
She is not germane to the bill that we are discussing. Do
you want to respond, or you just want me to rule?
I'm happy to respond, Mr. President. I think
Aye.
this is exactly germane to the bill about why this is a bad policy and why we should vote no.
Please stay on topic as much as you can. We've got a lot of business to do.
Will do.
Thank you.
And then the last thing that parents say to me, instead of wanting a bill like this, they say that they want support services for students who have mental health challenges, learning challenges, physical challenges, who are experiencing trouble at home, or who live in poverty. I think we all have to admit that the last few years have not been easy, and that kids are having unprecedented levels of mental health anguish. A recent North Carolina study showed that more than 1 in 5 North Carolina high school students have seriously considered attempting suicide within this past year. Among LGBTQ students who are intently watching this Senate Bill 49, that rate is almost 1 in 2. We need to think about them, address those needs, and not pass laws like Senate Bill 49 that will make things worse. And this, by the way, what parents are asking for is what educators are asking for and school staff want as well. They want to be able to welcome and educate all children from all types of families. They want to do their jobs to prepare their students for the real world, not a bubble. And they want parents who are engaged and working in partnership with them to foster their children's education. They want to be paid a living wage and have the resources in their classroom that they need to teach. They want adequate school counselors, school nurses, specialists in every school. And they want you to pass a state budget. They don't want to be burdened with additional busy work, which is what Senate Bill 49 is doing, or forced to betray the trusts that students often put in them. They don't want their curriculum micromanaged by state government, and they don't want certain books banned just because particular parents don't like them. North Carolina ranks 48th in the country for K through 12 funding. We have 1 school psychologist for every 1,900 students. The national guideline is 1 for every 700 students. And yet, we're focused on bills like this instead that will only further exacerbate our challenges. North Carolinians don't want bills like Senate Bill 49 that is just going to discourage teachers, make them more likely to leave the profession, and will make LGBTQ students and their families feel targeted and excluded. It's not just bad policy, it's a distraction from what we should be working on. Just like this paper that was handed out, it's a red herring, it's a distraction. Let's get back to what we should be doing, what we owe the people of North Carolina to do. I urge you to stand up for public education, for equality, and to vote no.
Any further discussion or debate? Hearing none, the motion before the body is that Senate Bill 49 become law, notwithstanding the objections of the governor. All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. 5 seconds will be allowed for voting, and the clerk will record the vote. Senator Lowe. Senator Lowe. Senator Lowe votes no. 27 having voted in the affirmative, 18 in the negative. The motion to override the governor's veto of Senate Bill 49 passes by 3/5 of the members present and voting. In accordance with Article 2, Section 22 of the Constitution of North Carolina, Senate Bill 49, together with the governor's objections and veto message, will be sent to the House by special message for reconsideration. Next on our calendar, we have House Bill 219. Clerk will read. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back to the regular calendar. I'm sorry. Correction, folks. We're not going there yet. Next on the calendar, we'll have Senate Bill 9. Clerk will read. I'm sorry.
Senate Bill 9, local omnibus changes.
Senator Adcock is recognized to explain the bill.
I have a motion.
Send forward your motion.
I move that the Senate do not concur on Senate Bill 9. What? Sorry.
The motion is that we do not concur on this bill. Is there any objection? Say that again. Yes. That's what right. Is there any discussion or debate? You guys got to give me a break. I'm a little rusty on this. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 9. All those in favor will say aye. This is one voice vote, right? All those in favor will say aye. Voice vote. Aye. All those in favor, all those not in favor will say no. Bill does not pass, and it will head back to the Senate for further review, correct? The House will be notified. Thank you. Sorry, guys, I'm a little rusty at this. Give me a break. Next on the calendar, we have...
President.
Who? Senator Heights, for what purpose he rise? To confuse me even more.
Announcement of conferees.
Say that one more time.
Announcement of conferees.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Berger appoints the following senators to a conference committee to resolve the differences between the House and Senate on Senate Bill 9, local omnibus changes. Senator Krovic will chair, Senator Berger, and Senator Adcock.
Without objection, so moved. Next on the calendar, we have House Bill 422. Clerk will read.
House Bill 422, Unfair Real Estate Agreements Act.
Senator Krovic is recognized.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir. Senator Overcash, what purpose do you rise?
to speak on the bill.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill will prohibit unfair real estate services agreements in the state of North Carolina. We do, in fact, have a problem. There are unscrupulous brokers that are preying on the poor and the elderly in this state. These predatory brokers are cold calling folks and offering them anywhere from $300 to $5,000 in exchange for a long-term real estate services agreement. They're then putting a lien on the property that runs with the land and holds on that property for 40 years at a time. A survey of the 4 largest MLS systems over the last 2.5 years has shown that we have had over 2,000 of such predatory liens. So this bill would prohibit these service agreements if, number one, they're in effect for over a year and they run with the land or allow the assignment of the right to provide this services contract without consent or create a lien. And this bill would also prohibit the filing of such agreements and declare any of these types of liens or encumbrances void. It also increases the violation for this and calls it or defines as an unfair and deceptive trade practice, which could lead to treble damages, could lead to the awarding of attorney's fees in such case. It's supported by the North Carolina Realtors, the Registers of Deeds Association, AARP, and also the North Carolina Department of Justice. I would commend it to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there further discussion or debate on House Bill 422? Hearing none, the question before the Senate is the passage of House Bill 422 on its second reading. All in favor will say vote aye. All opposed will vote no. 5 seconds will be allowed for voting, and the clerk will record the vote. Senator Waddell. Senator Waddell is aye. 45 having voted in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. House Bill 422 passes its second reading and without objection will be read a third time.
The General Assembly of North Carolina enacts.
Is there further discussion or debate? Hearing none, all in favor of the passage of House Bill 422 on its third reading will say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and House Bill 422 passes its third reading and will be sent to the House for concurrence on the Senate subcommittee.
Mr. President.
Senator Rabin, for what purpose do you rise?
A motion, please, Mr. President.
You have the floor for your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that Senate Bill 176, Consumers in Crisis Protection Act, be moved to the end of today's calendar, please.